Welcome to this video. My name is Hannes Knechtkes. This video is called Corona for Advanced Players. We have a lot of time on our hands right now. Most of the people are spending a lot of time at home, and I thought it would be a good idea to show you some stuff for the more advanced players. Probably you've learned already some chords, you can play some strumming patterns, you can play songs, and now you want to make some bigger steps, go to like kind of soloing and stuff. And this is a very good idea because I'm about to show you something very important that you need to understand and that you need to learn to play a decent solo. Before we start out, I want to make sure that you know that I have a totally free ebook that you find in my video description. It's no strings attached. You don't have to put your email in there or something like this. Ton of information you will find there, and it's a lot of fun to check that out. Now I will show you what you will learn in this video. Yeah, now you might think, okay, this is just a scale. I've learned that scale, but I will tell you and give you details that you will need to play that scale decent and to play it in a musical way when you're playing a solo, because there are a lot of things to discover when you're playing a solo and to take a look at when you're playing a solo. But first, let's check out the scale, and it's called the G major scale, and we start with the middle finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. And now there comes the first, I would say, for some players, a problem that you need to use your pinky, which goes to the 5th fret of the E string. So we have 3, 5, and then we go to the A string, 2nd fret with the index, 3rd fret with the middle finger, and 5th fret with the pinky again. So we have 3, 5, 2, 3, 5. On the D string, we use index in the 2nd fret, ring finger in the 4th fret, and the pinky in the 5th fret. We repeat that on the G string, so it's 2, 4, 5 on the G string too. Then we go with the middle finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, 5th fret with the pinky, and on the E string we go to 2nd and 3rd fret with the index and middle finger. Let's go through it again from the top. So 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 3. And you can go that backwards by just going again to the 2nd fret on the E string, and then 5, 3 on the B string, 5, 4, 2 on the G string, 5, 4, 2 on the D string, 5, 3, 2 on the A string, and 5, 3 on the E string. Now it's really important that you make sure that you know where to go. The scale is kind of like your alphabet when you want to do sentences later in your solo playing, or make something that you might think is musical and stuff, but first you really have to know your scale. Your fingers must be trained to do those motions here, and you must know which notes are allowed when you're playing a G major scale. When your fretting hand is ready for that and you really know where to go, make sure that your hand position is correct. Please make sure that your thumb is somewhere on the back of the guitar, like something like this. Let me show you. And you have a very straight underarm and wrist here. Not something like this, I would say. Try to be as efficient as possible. Don't do something like this or something. Your fingers need to have room and to make all those big stretches here. And this might be uncommon for your hand at the beginning. Then you just do downstrokes, please. Only do downstrokes. And the thing is now, when we leave the E and the A string, for example, I touch with my picking hand slightly, just the strings I don't want to hear anymore. So when I'm on the D string, I mute the E and A string with my hand. I'm lying on the strings actually. Then I move on. I also lie on the D string now. You hear it's muted. And I play the G string, and so on. I always move along with my hand to make sure I mute the strings that I don't actually need at that very moment. When I go back, you see how my picking hand moves up again. And this will need some time, that you just mute the strings you don't need. Muting is so important in this, because when you hear that? There's not only sounding the string, the note I just want here in the very moment, I also hear the strings that I left. And this is not something very nice. So this is important when you learn scales and when you want to play a decent solo, make sure you also mute strings and notes that you don't want to hear. Moreover, it's important to check your technique. Take a look at my fingers here. It's kind of like they're lined up in a way, always ready to play the next note. I don't do something like this. Again, do a dry exercise and do it like this at the beginning. Just really focus on one hand after the other. Don't go too fast and do two things at once. It will confuse you. Just make sure you develop a decent technique. And then the next exercise is play it like this and not like this. Don't play it, or do not only play it staccato, but also legato. Just make sure you are capable of doing both styles. It's called phrasing, how long lasts a note until you play the next one. And this has nothing to do with tempo, by the way. We can do that in the same tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see, there are a lot of things to consider when playing a scale. You can play them in really different ways. You can play them in a clean way and make sure you have everything going, because it might confuse you and you think, oh, I suck at guitar playing, and it might just be that there are strings ringing throughout that you don't want to ring throughout. And the big question is, what do I do with the scale? I mean, if you want to improvise on a solo, there's a big tip I want to give to you, and we will talk about this in another Corona for Advanced Players video. What do you do with the scale? I see most players just play something like this. When they have a scale ready, whatever scale, doesn't matter which one, just going it up and going down again, fast, slow, whatever, and they really don't have no clue what to do. A great tip that I got from my teachers was play melodies that you know. I don't know, for example, something like this. And then you can play it with different techniques in terms of phrasing. You can play it like, or you can play it. Now you see, you can do very musical things in an easy way. I just only used notes that are within this major scale we just learned. So this is a thing, if you play a solo and you think, oh, this doesn't sound very good, try to think in melodies. This is a very good and musical thing to do, because you also will find out, if you just try to hum or sing along to your solo when you play it, that you will run out of air. That's a good idea to make rests and to play nothing at all for a moment, so your phrase becomes alive in a way and it makes sense. So those are very important tips to my ear, and I think it's really important to check those things out we just discussed in this video. And thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like this video, write in the comments what you would like to see next. So thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.